Remortgages. Everybody is talking about remortgages at the moment. What do you need to know? What don't you know? What even is a remortgage? Now, today, as I'm going to be talking about remortgages. Now, my name's Amanda Walker and I'm the mortgage coach. Right, so basically, what is a remortgage? Now, when you first buy a property, as you know, it's a mortgage. Now, when you initially buy it, it could be for on a certain deal for 2 years, 5 years. Now, when that is coming up for renewal, it's called a remortgage. Now, you can do a straight remortgage, which is called a like for like, where if your mortgage was originally, say, 150,000, you've paid off 5,000, so now it's 145, then you could remortgage for 145. Now, if you went ahead and did that, it can be a lot quicker if you go direct to your lender who you originally were with. They will offer you a deal. They normally contact you between 3 to 6 months before, and they say, if you want to do a like for like, we'll offer you this interest rate, it will cost this much, end of. That's the end of the story. I would recommend shopping around. What I mean by that, it's like with car insurance. When it comes up to the end, they do offer you a deal, and most of the time it's either the same price or less. Obviously, with interest rates rising, it's not going to be the same price or less. It's going to be a little bit more. But going direct to your lender, it may seem like it's going to be more time efficient, but at the end of the day, it's not the most cost effective. Now, if you do shop around, you can obviously go to a mortgage broker or you can shop around yourself. You are likely to get a better deal by looking round, because new lenders want you on their books. So they're going to try and entice you by offering you a better deal. With your existing lender, they obviously already have you. So they hope the fact that the convenience of just doing it directly and not having to shop around or waste time will make you think, yes, let's go with them. But I would, number one, I'd recommend shop around. Number two, I'd recommend get your documents ready. Now, what I mean by that is when you're going to remortgage, they will ask for your building and contents insurance. So make sure you've got all of that and you've got that up to date. They will more than likely want to look at 3 months bank statements, 3 months payslips. Make sure you've got those. Make sure your bank statements are clean. What I mean by that is there are no suspicious or difficult or on your bank statements, on the descriptions of things, it doesn't look particularly odd or questionable or anything like that. If you like to do the odd gambling here and there, don't do it over those months. Coming up to your remortgage, I wouldn't get any more finance. To be honest, now you have a mortgage, and if you've got a credit card, your credit score is probably high enough. You've got enough of a credit footprint. You don't need to do anything else. If you are thinking of getting a car or additional borrowing for any other reason, wait. That's what I would say, wait. So number one was shop around. Number two, get all your documents in a row. So that's pay slips. The other thing is pay slips can be affected if you have a large mortgage, large pension coming out, if you have student loans coming out, anything like that. It is always best to review your pension, and if you're coming up to a mortgage, maybe pay less against your pension for that amount of time, and then you can start paying more later on. But really try and make sure that you look the most affordable. The other thing is, know what you're doing. What I mean by this is some people will do a mortgage like for like because they just want to rush through it. And then later on, they'll realise that they could have done with some additional borrowing. When you're remortgaging, it's the perfect time to ask for more money if you want. The likelihood is the time that you've owned the property, it has gone up in value, which means that you will be able to borrow more. and you can borrow more for several reasons. You know, if you want to invest in another property, if you want to do this property up, if you want to pay off credit card debt, personal loans, it's called debt consolidation. There are several different reasons why you would want to borrow more money, and it's best to do it all in one go, isn't it really? So what I would recommend is, before you even start shopping around, make sure you know the market value of your property. Make sure you've got a redemption statement. A redemption statement is what you can request from your current lender, and this will say what you have outstanding at this point in time. It will be on your credit report as well, if you follow your credit report down and see the line that has the information about your mortgage, but it isn't always as up to date. A redemption statement will basically the bank telling you this is what's outstanding and these are any fees that if you decide to leave early. But one bonus tip I would say is, start looking into your mortgage, remortgaging early, and you can say to your mortgage advisor, this is when the early repayment charges end. Now, basically, what early repayment charges are is if you leave your original mortgage deal early, you can be fined. But it can take quite a while. I'm seeing remortgages, taking up to 21 days to get a mortgage offer. Some of them are sort of between 17 and 18 days just to look at documents. So what you could do is start the process even earlier than the 6 months and just drip feed your documentation, is the best way of putting it. So you could start, say, 9 months before, lock in an okay rate, because at the moment the rates are okay. They could go up more. Obviously no one's got a crystal ball, but for now, if the rate is manageable, you could actually lock in the rate now, and then by the time you actually go through the whole remortgage process, because you have to supply documents and then you have to organise a time to do the valuation, you may not be available the first couple of weeks after you do the mortgage application. It may take a month to view your property. All of those delays, you still have that rate. And once you get the mortgage offer, obviously, talk to your solicitor about when you actually want to complete. Once you've got the mortgage offer, you don't need to complete in 7 days. You've still got a bit of time there as well. So time before the pre-offer, so everything before the offer, and then time afterwards. So it is definitely worth looking into remortgaging as early as you can, looking into whether you actually want additional money for any reason. Also, you could look at it from the opposite way. If you've got a significant amount of savings, and as we all know, the interest rates on savings isn't very high at all. Even though mortgage interest rates are going up, saving interest rates normally should be going up in comparison, but they're not. So you could actually put some of your savings towards that mortgage, and then when you go to remortgage, instead of owing 145,000 as my example, if you've got 20k worth of savings, you may want to put 15 of that towards the mortgage, and then just do a mortgage of 130, because at the end of the day, paying 3.5%, for example, on 130 is better than paying 145 on 3.5%, and then having savings of 1%. If you do the maths, the interest you're gaining is 1%, but the interest you're spending on the mortgage is 3.5%. That's 2.5%, negative. So it makes more sense. So, as I would say, look at when you're due to remortgage. It never surprises me the amount of clients that come to me and they say, I'm remortgaging in a month, and it can take 21 days is the quickest, and that's normally when you go direct and you haven't got time to shop around or do a better deal. But if you want to shop around, get the best deal, most of them come with a free valuation anyway, so it definitely is worth shopping around and finding the right remortgage. But you do have to give yourself the time and give your mortgage advisor the time so they can get you a really good deal. And as I said, make sure that you've got your buildings and contents. You could also consider remortgaging with additional borrowing, because you want to do the property up, not from the perspective of an extension or going into the loft, a loft conversion to add another bedroom, but you could look at it for your energy efficiency. Now, if you do additional borrowing to put solar panels on, that will definitely help, because obviously energy prices have significantly gone up. So getting solar panels would be great. Getting underfloor heating, getting triple glazing on your windows, all of those help with the energy. So one, it could reduce your energy, the amount of energy you use, which overall will cost less in the long run, but also it could help you with your EPC rating. And by doing that, when you're going to apply for a remortgage, you could possibly get yourself a green mortgage, which are the majority of the time are on a better rate than the standard mortgage. So I hope you find those tips helpful. Please click in the link, subscribe, add comments. If you've got any ideas of any videos you'd like to see or like to hear about, please add comments, and I'm more than happy to do a video on that area. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.